Our yearly campaign, Make the Season Kind, is underway. And again this year, we're focusing on food insecurity. It's also a time of celebration of kindness, generosity, and community spirit. Véronique Beaulieu-Fowler is Director of Philanthropy at Food Banks Quebec, and she joins us again to talk about this pressing issue that just never seems to end. You know, I remember during the pandemic, Véronique, thinking, okay, it's tough right now. We've got a couple of years that we have to get through this because inflation's so high, cost of living is so high. We've seen inflation slowly coming down, but the demand for help just isn't stopping.
The demand for help keeps increasing every year. We're now at 3.1 million food help requests per month across the province, and that's a huge number for us. We've never been over 3 million.
Just let that sink in, though. That's per month.
Yes.
How are you managing to keep up with the demand?
We do everything that we can to increase food supply because foodstuff is really what we're looking for. However, we can't supply quickly enough. So we've had to implement new programs and initiatives such as a governmental provided food purchasing budget, which allows us to inject partly some of the food that we need to really bridge that gap. However, it's never enough. So on the ground this year, 68% of organizations said that they didn't have enough food to supply to everyone who came knocking at their door. So that has dropped down from 72% last year. However, it's still really hard to bridge that gap because the things are increasing too quickly for us to respond in kind.
How does it all compare to last year? You know, I was talking about things just aren't getting better, but beyond that, it's getting worse, right?
Yes, so last year we were at 2.9 million food help requests per month. Now we're at 3.1. So as you can imagine, that's putting a lot of pressure on the organizations on the ground who serve people who come knock at their door for help. But it also represents the fact that people here in Quebec are struggling more and more to put food on their tables.
What is driving that? Is it the cost of living? Is it housing? What is the main factor?
Well, both factors have an impact on people's disposable income because sadly, when we look at a grocery budget, it's often one of the only compressible budgets that is left. People can make choices. We have to pay our rent. Most people who come to food banks are renters, for example. But what we've seen since the pandemic is people who might have thought that they were safe because they have jobs or because they are in the middle class, saying that they just can't make ends meet anymore.
Can you just give us maybe draw us a picture of who that person is who's coming seeking help now?
The person could be your neighbor, could be a friend, or someone in your family even, because we're seeing 20% of people who are coming to food banks hold a job. That's from where they get their main source of income. So that's highly concerning because it means that even having a job doesn't allow you that security. I mean, things that impact families here in Quebec every day, such as the housing crisis, as well as the price of pretty much everything that they have to buy that is an essential, has gone up in the last few years. And yes, inflation has been reducing, but that doesn't mean that we still aren't living the consequences of inflation from the last few years.
Now, people want to help, of course,
yes,
but people who want to help don't have as much as they used to either. So what can people do to help out?
I think that sometimes we worry, what if I can't give enough? What if what I do is not enough? But you never know how big or small actions have impacts on people. There's so many things that people can do. People can donate $1 at the cash at the grocery store when they go. People can find or give some time, because time is one of the things that local organizations really need. And the other thing is talk about food insecurity. One of the things that we know is that people are very ashamed. Imagine having a job and saying, I still can't make ends meet. We want to reduce that stigma, and we want people to talk about food insecurity as a real life problem that people have here.
Véronique, thanks so much for coming in and talking about this again. It's so important.
Thanks for having me.
Now, to learn more about Make the Season Kind, you can visit cbc.ca/kind. You can also find more information there on how to help local food banks in your community.